If you've driven the roads between Johannesburg and Cape Town, you may be familiar with occasional sightings of Cape foxes. Unfortunately, such sightings often take the form of roadkill. Now Cape fox numbers are dropping even further, and conservationists are getting concerned.
It's our smallest fox and we know hardly anything about it at all. What we do know is that it's spread very thinly across the entire country. As to its numbers, the only reliable figures we have are from an unlikely source: hunt clubs. In their campaign to control jackals on farms, their dogs have been flushing fewer and fewer Cape foxes. Our lack of information on the Cape fox prompted American researcher Jan Kamler to visit South Africa and begin a 3-year study on the animal. Fellow researcher Ute Stenkewitz from Germany is helping him. Jan chose 2 sites in the Kimberley area for his work: the De Beers Benfontein Game Farm and a sheep farm 5 kilometers away.
The objective was to have 2 sites that differed greatly in jackal densities. So by having an area that had high jackal densities and comparing that to an area that had low jackal densities, we can then see what effects the jackals had on both Cape foxes and bad-eared foxes.
Jan previously studied canids when he looked at swift fox and coyote interactions in the USA. He also studied red deer and wolf relationships in Poland. The biggest problem Jan faces out here is finding his subjects. On Benfontein's 110 square kilometers, there are only 4 foxes and their offspring. A little human cunning is needed. For 6 months of the year, Jan spends his time setting traps.
Yes, we're trying to catch some of the Cape foxes that were born last year that are very young and naive, so they're more willing to go into the trap than an adult is. I have all the adults on Benfontein radio collared already. And so what I'm trying to do now is capture some of their young from last year to see how long the young stay with their parents, when they finally leave their parents, and when they leave, how far they go, and also, what they die from. It took me a long time to learn how to catch these foxes. Another trick is to put scraps for them. So I have these little scraps on each.
I see. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I just make a trail of meat scraps that go all the way back. This is all very fresh meat. And then, just a little bit farther in is the next piece, and a little bit farther in is the next piece. So I'm just trying to lead them into the main piece of meat that the string is tied on.
Ute covered our tracks as best she could, and we raced to set 5 more traps before nightfall. During the time Jan's been doing his work, he's learned the Cape fox is a wily creature.
Jan, where does your bait come from?
All my bait has come from roadkill. So as I drive around throughout the year on the roads and highways, I stop and always collect any fresh roadkill, mainly hares, ground squirrels, or spring hares, which are natural foods that the foxes would eat. I then freeze it, keep it in a freezer throughout the year so that during the trapping season I can take them out, cut them into pieces, and put them in the trap.
The trapping has inadvertently led to other animals being caught too, like the insect-eating bat-eared fox, whose interactions with the Cape foxes are also being studied.
They're the animal that I've caught in most. I've caught more than 40 bad-eared foxes in these traps, and I've just been, baiting it with meat. A lot of people think that bad-eared foxes don't eat meat. They don't scavenge. But many times when I catch a bad-eared fox, it will eat all the meat that was in the trap. So they apparently do scavenge, which wasn't previously known before.
All that remained was to set the trap and wait for the foxes to emerge after dark. About an hour later, we were at the first of many stations to take radio color readings.
Jan, this looks like a very unusual telemetry system. How does it work?
What we're using is a null peak system. It's a system that's commonly used in the United States, and it's different from other systems. In most telemetry systems, where the animal is, you hear the loudest beep, and that's, the direction of the animal. Well, this is slightly different. By putting 2 antennas parallel to each other and having a special box that you can switch off the signal, it actually becomes dead silent right where the animal is, and there's loud beeps on each side. And so we think the animal is right there. And
in that direction over
yeah, no, it would be pointing, this is the front of the antenna, so it's actually pointing back behind us.
Oh, I see.
By using a system known as triangulation, Jan can plot the position of all the animals he has collared during his study. With 42 bat-eared foxes, 18 Cape foxes, and 15 jackals collared in his study sites, this can take all night.
This fox was 352 degrees from where we were at, and we're at station number 35. I have to GPS all these points that we stop at and listen for the animals. I have to write down the date and the exact time.
Okay, that sounds all very technical to me. Is it north, south, east, or west?
So this animal's almost directly north of us right now. And at that other place, it was pointing south. So she's actually in between our last two stops, just a little bit to the left. So she's, you know, when we were at that other spot, she was facing this direction. Now she's facing that direction. So she was probably in the middle.
Next morning, we were up early with the animals. Luck was with us too. With almost 110 square kilometers of land and only 4 uncollared young foxes to find, we'd nailed one.
I think we have a new Cape Fox in the trap. Yes, it is.
Jan had been hoping to catch this young animal for almost a year, without any success, until now. Both parents have been collared, but this little guy was clever. A tranquilizer was quickly prepared.
So the first thing we do, Tiara, is get the animal in a bag. Okay? Because it's the easiest way to give it an injection. Just move slowly. And we always move slowly and talk quietly. Get that going. Okay. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way. Go into the trap. Go into the trap. Go into the bag. Go into the bag. Yeah. Maybe walk around, Tiara, to the back.
Once the fox was in the bag, the drug knocked it out. A check of the fox's teeth confirmed it was still a young adult.
So the first thing we do is put the radio collar on. It's quite light. It only weighs 40 grams. And most of these Cape foxes, like I said, weigh 3 kilograms. So it's about 1% or less of their body weight.
As so little is known about Cape foxes, Jan uses every opportunity with them to collect as much information as possible. Measurements are taken of the animal. A small ear tag is fitted as a secondary means of identifying the fox.
And when we put the ear tag in, they have many veins in their ears, so we first look through the sunlight to make sure that we miss a vein.
Oh, I can see all those veins there.
So we just pick a spot, because we don't want to puncture any veins. And there's the ear tag.
The animal?
Well, it's just like getting an ear pierced. And because we don't hit any veins, it will just be like an earring for the animal. There is a tick in there, and we're going to collect that.
I see. I was wondering what that was.
I have to go get my pliers. We collect some of these parasites just to determine what species of ectoparasites occur on Cape foxes, and so little is known about this species. And that goes right in the vial.
With all the measurements and samples taken, the fox was put back into the bag and given an antidote to wake it.
The best place to put the antidote, right there.
Right, in the muscle of the back leg.
And now we're just waiting for him to gain consciousness, and then when I'm given the word go, I'm going to open the bag and he's going to run off.